Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Elikrim, welcome to the show. Elikrim just started and said awesomeness. Yes, awesomeness. I almost didn't stream today, but I was like, no, I mean, come on. If I can drink clap today, I should be able to stream. Anyway, welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to Demystify Tech with Samuel or Sam. Today, we're just going to be having just a casual conversation. We're doing a series on the Azure AI Studio, but I just wanted to take a break today. Today's session is more of ask me anything, bring your question. Let's talk about the Microsoft Cloud generally, and then let's talk about technology in general. I'll just be trying to do stuff online, and then also, hey, if you bring your questions, we can discuss it whilst we're going through stuff. If this sounds like something you want to do, grab a chilled glass of whatever you like to drink. Mine is a chilled glass mug of beer. As you can see, it's sweating. It's sweating, yeah, because a chilled mug of beer. So grab yours. Just stick and stay with me. Once we take the montage, we'll get into it and have some interesting fun. Awesome. The journey for the modding developer starts on this show. A big thank you to all of you joining us on all the various platforms, joining us on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch. Thank you so much for joining and making this with us. A couple of announcements, as you know, I like to do that. Number one, which deserves a confetti. Where's my confetti? What happened to it? Yeah, there you go. All right. So first thing is I'm grateful to announce that I'm sure you probably have heard the news somewhere last week. I was renewed for my MVP for the fifth year in the row. Yeah, fifth year, 5 years as an MVP. I thank you all for the support. Thanks to my family, my friends, staff at AfriLogic, everybody who joins the channel and consumes the content to make it more relevant. Thank you so much. We pray that you have more renewals to come. So that's the first news I want to share with you. Also, thank you to all of you who showed up at the Dynamics User Group Ghana event last week, Saturday. Thank you so much. Thank you for showing up. It was an awesome session. The first in-person meeting. I appreciate that. Thank you for me. If you're interested in Dynamics and you want to join the community, yes, you can join the Dynamic User Group. Has amazing professionals in there and some experienced people who would help you. So you can join that as well. I want to say a big thank you to is it a sponsor? No, he's not a sponsor. But anyway, he sorts me out when I have stuff that needs to be shipped from the US to Ghana. Big thank you to Hobart Shipping Logistics. They make sure that all my stuff, all my equipment, all the fancy gadget and things I display and show on the channel are delivered to me safe and sound, right from the US straight to Ghana. So Hobart Shipping, thank you very much for that support. Well, today, first of all, I know, what's making news is an outage. A lot of the Microsoft, some of the Microsoft infrastructure not working because of an outage. I know Satya Nadella has came out to to share something. It was an update by one of the cybersecurity companies that Microsoft leveraged to make sure that your infrastructure is safe. There was an update there, and that triggered some kind of like outage, but it's being taken care of, and Microsoft is providing support for any company or people experiencing issues with that. So I know that brings up the conversation or question about then how do we say that the cloud is highly available, the cloud is reliable and resilient and all that. I know the conversation of that is going to come up. So let's try to address that. Now, primarily, most or some of the infrastructure, were affected. Not all of it. Some of it in some regions and some services were affected. This usually it's not like a very regular happening. It happens from time to time when there is some kind of update glitch or some issues, or in some cases it will probably be a natural disaster or something that shuts or takes down a region or a zone, right? However, a couple of things are there to look at. I'll look at it from will look at it from, let's say, from the software or development perspective, and then we can also look at it from the infrastructure perspective. Thank you. If this is the first time you're joining us, this is Demystify Tech with Sam. Today we're just talking about, general Azure Cloud and general technologies. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to drop the questions in there. We'll try to, address it. If you've also not subscribed to the channel, I would really appreciate it if you just subscribe to the channel, so that you can help us grow. You can help us, get a lot more content, delivered to you. Just like the channel, subscribe and hit the notification button so that anytime I go live, you can get me. So back to the conversation. So you can look at it from the perspective, we can look at it from the perspective of, we can look at it from the perspective of, the processes or the DevOps processes. And this is where I wish I had my friend Dara on the call to talk more about, the processes before software or services are released. A lot of companies have different pipelines and processes and tests that have to be passed before services are released. So we're going to look at it twofold. We're going to look at the outage from the company that pushed the update. And the question is, first off, why didn't they catch that? Or was it something they could have caught? So let's look at it from that perspective. And then we'll come back and look at it on Azure or the cloud side. What could have been done? So on the development or the company's perspective, right? Question is, what are the DevOps processes? What are the processes that they go through to release the software or release whatever patch and update? Does it go through some test? Does it go through some regression testing? Does it go through just how many? So question is, could it have been caught before the patch pushed, right? Or was it that it was tested, everything was fine, and then it came in, and for some reason it blew up? So that's the first part. Honestly, I don't know what their processes are internally, and therefore you can only speculate that process was seen through. On the cloud side of things, I don't want to say, and here I'm not saying that it can never happen. It does happen, right? A lot of cloud people have had this issue before. Now, the other side of things is how a lot of the businesses, or let's say some of the businesses that were affected, what was the cloud architecture like, right? What was it? Did they have availability set? Did they have the applications and systems replicated in another zone, another geo zone, so that if the issue that was affecting, if it was a particular geography related issue, was it affected? But hey, don't forget, this wasn't like a geo issue. This was more like an update and specific issue, right? So that is one thing that we need to bear into consideration. So common question is, so in times like this, right? In times like this, what do you do? All right. What do you do? Well, in most cases it's quite difficult depending on the type of outage. Like in this case, it was a patch. So what happened? Microsoft had to roll back that patch immediately, from regions, so that services could come. Because I know it affected some, a lot of airlines. There were quite a number of, flights that were canceled. There were a lot of delays and stuff like that because those major infrastructure was running on the Microsoft ecosystem. Somebody would argue that is a Microsoft responsibility versus, the third party that provided that service responsibility. Well, like, the cloud, in most cases, is a shared responsibility. You have a part to play. The providers have a part to play. It's the same thing on the vendors that also leverage the platform. We all have equal parts to play. So, in as much as downtime is not really a funny it's not like a fun thing a lot of companies like. Some of it, there are mitigations around. Like I mentioned, if it wasn't let's say a patch specific thing that affected a lot of geo regions, then it would have been that we anticipate some of these things and have either availability set or have geo redundancies that automatically will fall back to another region if it was a region or geo specific issue. but this quite was, affected a few number of, geo regions because it was more of an update issue that most of the infrastructure was running on. So it's been resolved gladly. Even ourselves, my company was impacted yesterday somehow, but almost by this morning, most of the services were back on everything. It wasn't as impact. It wasn't as I would say a high impact compared to the airlines and stuff, because I know Delta and some other companies had some very not interesting periods of it. So yeah, so that'll be it on the how do you call it, on the whole outage thing. So remember, today is today's episode is primarily ask me anything. Bring your questions like Q&A, anything on the Microsoft Azure cloud, and then also let's talk about emerging technologies. Today I want to also talk about something I've had for a while now, that there seems to have been some conversations around. I don't know what the plan is going forward, especially on the Microsoft side for this, but then I believe strongly that it has its place in it. So if I should ask you what this is, would you say it's VR glasses, it's an AR glasses, it's it's a mixed reality? I don't know. What would you think? What would you say this is, right? Share with me. Let's see. Now this this came out a couple of years ago. It was Microsoft's mixed reality headset. But share with me the spectrum you think this works in, and we can have a conversation about that. If you look at this, a couple of things strike through. So the back, you have the battery pack and the PC running here on Windows at the back side of it. And then so this is, you can actually flip this, right? You can wear, so I can actually let me show you this. Well, okay, let me say it's mixed reality. Well, yes, you can see a mixed reality. So I can literally put this on, and so I can technically do my show with this, right? Now, reason why even though this is you will call it a mixed reality headset, this operates mostly on the augmented reality spectrum, right? Yes, it can teleport you into some environment or some realities, but the key thing is that you are almost always aware of your environment when you are in this one, versus the Quest 2, Quest 3, which now has a pass-through, right, that allows you to see your environment and do stuff on it. So like the hand tracking and stuff like that, this does that. So you can see the cameras here, some cameras and depth cameras and stuff in here. Now, so this one, because it allows you to almost constantly always see through what your environment, it's much effective and plays well on the augmented reality spectrum of of extended or mixed reality. So typical use cases for this now, I know the US military has a whole project with Microsoft where they leverage some of these for the military, for the soldiers, and where you have all this feedback coming in front of them. Also in terms of field support, right? You have your engineer on the field, you need some direction from a senior engineer, or a much how do you call it, a much higher or more skilled person. You can have this on it and have like a Teams call happening in here, and the person can walk you through, do this change. You can see that instructions being scribbled by the person from wherever it is, overlaid on the kind of device or the piece of machinery that you're servicing. Right now, is Microsoft still producing this? To the best of my knowledge, I think no. Microsoft is still not actually producing this. Is deferring production of these hardware, with exception of Surface, to third-party virtual reality or mixed reality glasses manufacturers. Right now, what opportunities does this present to you? Quite a number of them, right? So it gives you the opportunity where you can actually develop with it. There's a mixed reality toolkit. I know that both Microsoft and Meta are working closely. So Horizon, which will be like your Teams environment, now compatible, so you can either use your Meta Quest or this to experience Horizon, and also Microsoft Teams from your Meta headset, right? So that's the spectrum. So the spectrum where mixed reality complete takes you, teleport you into different environments, augmented reality is still aware of environment and projections of digital asset onto that environment. So two different scopes that we need to be mindful of. That's the other thing I wanted to talk about. 70 minutes into it. If you have any questions, drop it. If there are no questions yet, I think I would go ahead and then try to open up my Azure and see if I can set up the the AI project that we were working on. Let's bring this here. And yeah, so if you have any questions, you can drop it here. Else, I'll just go ahead and try to do something bit new. So let's go here. Actually, I can share some resources that allows you to learn a lot of these things. Let's quickly jump and go into Microsoft Learn. Let me know. So let's move to the desk. Let's put our picture in picture here. Okay, so I know you can see that. Desktop. Oh, okay. I think this there you go. Okay, interesting. Well, yeah, I'm trying to show the desktop and I think I'm missing something here, but just give me a sec, people. Let me add I'm trying to find my something changed. So I think there was an update to my how do you call it? The feature I have in the cloud storage. Is it possible? Actually, Elicleam, just a sec. Let's see. Let me just try to bring this in real quick, and then we will try to answer that question. So let's do source clone. I'm trying to bring, if you noticed, it looks like my how do you call it, my camera is missing, so I'm trying to bring it back so you can see me down there. There was just as I was about to come online, there was an update that I had to run. So I think the update is the one that is getting in the way of my, actually, let's see. You know what? Let me try something here. Let me come back to the, okay, you know what, Elicleam, let's bring Elicleam's question here. So Elicleam says, a future with 100% cloud storage, is it possible? Okay, so let's look at it from this perspective. Let's look at it from the real world, the ideal situation, and okay, let's look at it from just these two perspectives. The ideal world, the real world, right? Okay. So a future with 100% cloud storage, is it possible? Yes, it is possible, right? And when you say 100% cloud storage, don't forget that it's just still physical service, available at different places to make. So it is possible, and that's my opinion. I'll say yes, it is possible. However, will the regulations and compliance allow that? That's a whole conversation, okay? Because if you I think in subsequent episode, there are certain regulations and compliance that dictate that if you are in a particular country or region, sovereign that data should not be kept outside of that region. That's number one. Okay. Now, today, question is, do we have enough cloud regions and zones and locations around the world to the extent that if such regulations and policies come up, there will be a location or a closer region or zone for you to host your data? I'll give you an example. I know that Google has a cache in the Ghana data center, right? Just a cache. But it doesn't have any of its services region here. Microsoft has got regions in South Africa, all right, but that is in South Africa. So even though it's in Africa, it's in the southern part of Africa. Ghana has got some legislature for financial, some policy for financial and banking data that prevents them from hosting the data outside, at some point outside the jurisdiction. Now, as of now, if the company is using Azure or even AWS, which also still is in South Africa, there isn't a local zone or region, right? Sorry, a zone in Ghana that will allow the banks or whichever application developers to say, okay, our application is in a cloud and we are hosting it in the region in Accra or Ghana. Does that make sense? So as I'm saying, it is possible. However, until certain policies and practices or things change, it will not be ideally possible unless cloud providers decide to say every country or every region, right? So I know West Africa has this kind of like regional data, whatever policy that they have, trying to make data accessible and stuff like that. If that is the case, then you can say that the likes of Google, Amazon, Microsoft Azure will try to probably put centers in the region, right? So in this case, let's say in West Africa. If that happens, then policymakers can update regulations and policies to say, well, it has to be in the sub-region. So in that case, you can put your application in the cloud and put your storage in, West Africa region, which could be Nigeria, Ghana, anywhere that ends up to be, right? So to answer your question, possible, yes. Would it happen ideally? I don't think so. Probably not in our lifetime. I don't know, but yeah. I hope that answered your question. Let's go back to now. If you are wondering how you can, from time to time, leverage resources that you can use, let me open this up. So let's go to welcome, Eliklim. Eliklim, you are welcome. So let's go to, you can go to learn.microsoft.com. All right. So this is it. Here, just make sure you create a Microsoft account, right? When you create a Microsoft account, you can come here and look for, try code samples, ask questions, connect with people, look for training days, set up, set up your learning path. So for instance, from here, let's go to, let's say develop. If I have specific things I want to look at, maybe artificial intelligence is the cool thing. I can come here and say, I want stuff on artificial intelligence. Then you have the whole AI learning hub. Now here, you can see plans and trainings and the Copilot. This is another cool place. The Copilot Learning Hub is where you can pretty much learn a lot about the Copilot stuff. Then you can also look at the Learn, which is where you can have your plan, right? Your path to learn and scale up and get events. Then the events is where you can register for upcoming workshops. So let's open the event to another tab, and let's open the Copilot stuff to another tab. So you can see here, as organizations, you can look at the learning part for AI for business leaders, Copilot for executive plans, and then Microsoft Learn for organizations and all that. So let's look at the plan. So if you go to get started, and all this is in learn.microsoft.com, because Microsoft has consolidated all the resources in one place for you to be able to learn. So learn the basics of Azure AI fundamentals. There are 6 milestones. This is fully curated by Microsoft, so it has learning parts in there. You start, you go through the mind zone, you can actually get an assessment for it. Okay, so what are the learning outcomes for this? This is just one side. There are lots of them, from DevOps to development to APIs to stuff like that. So you can, when you click on the start, it would load it, as you can see here, 6 milestone. So the first milestone is Microsoft Azure fundamentals, right? So this is supposed to be like a 3 hours, 6 minutes learning path. If you start this up, right, this is the first. There are 6 modules in this. This is the first one. Now, if you open this one up, you see the various modules, right? So here you can see this is Microsoft Azure AI fundamentals, the AI overview. So I have completed a few of them. So here, fundamentals of machine learning, the more sophisticated. Well, I won't say well, yeah, it's just more. Microsoft has put all the resources there, and even if you are planning to take a certification as well, the resources will be here. You can use this coupled with the Microsoft Docs, because for every module they'll point you to the further reading on the Microsoft documentations that you need to follow or you need to read more on. So here, what's machine learning, types of machine learning. So there are just about 3 modules in this. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 3 modules. So you can go through it. It's quite straightforward. So let's take an example of this. Oh, it's free. Yes. So good thing is everything on the Microsoft Learn, all the learning part stuff like that is free, unless you opt to do an instructor-led program. Then you need to pay, go for a class, and an instructor is physically teaching you. But everything here on the Microsoft Learn is totally free. So here there's an introduction to machine learning, giving you the notes. So pretty much that's how it is. It has schematics, and sometimes it will point you to resources, for you to go and look at. Okay, it will point you to resources for you to go and read more on. And then it also has labs. So some of the sections have got labs. So it will set up a virtual, kind of like a virtual environment for you to follow through to perform the lab, so that some of the things you don't need to say, oh, I don't have an Azure account, I don't have a means to test this. There are sandbox and labs as part of it that you can use to to leverage this. So this is just an example of that. Let's go back here, especially to my profile. Let me show you, or we can choose the career path. Sorry. So you can also have the career path. If I want to be an AI engineer, I want to be an app maker, I'm a business user, I'm a data engineer, a data analyst, a data scientist, DevOps, I'm a functional consultant, I'm a solutions architect. Every career path would have a set of modules or learning path that Microsoft can recommend to you based off on their tools and resources. So if you are, sorry guys, I think this is not, let me do this. Let me bring in video. Okay, main cam. Okay, sorry guys, I needed to bring this here because yeah, it felt like I wasn't here, so I feel it might be a bit awkward for people. Just a quick one. Okay, yeah, awesome, we're looking good. Awesome, there we go. So here, let's say I am on a quest to say, let's say, to be an AI engineer, right? So I select this, and then you can see here there are some introduction. What is there? Who is an AI engineer? And these are the self-paced ones. So getting started with Azure AI services. Then you can look at all the various compositions of it, and then it gives you all the resources, and at the end of it, they connect you to the right people. So look, it is free, it is in your own pace. So today, if you say that I don't have resources to learn, I don't have resources to be who I want to be, I want to upskill and make myself employable and all that, this is it, right? The resources there. What is needed from you is your dedication, your time, and then you can make this happen. There is also the assessment, right? There are assessment, and yeah, that's like, so there are skills assessments that give you certification. All right, so let's look at all the available assessments. So no, sorry, not skill assessment, not business assessment. So let me go and show you this. Let's go to training. Hey, welcome. Please join late. Can I get the URL? Yeah, sure. Just go to learn.microsoft.com. Let me drop this for you. I just shared that with you right now, so you should see it. So there you go. So here, this is the so this is my profile. These are stuff I've done, this things I keep doing. But if you go to, let me browse all the parts and show something. Now, if you, so here, you can pretty much browse and select the type of whether you want to do .NET, Azure, Bing, whatever that is. But one thing is, if you go all the way down, right, you should see, where is that? The assessment as well. So let me do, let's for the sake of, let's just do, let's say, application development. And you can see all the various stuff here. So using GitHub Copilot with JavaScript, so this is just mostly on even the developer side. But if I want to probably drill and go deeper, is it Azure, is it .NET? You can see all the various stuff. .NET, is it for .NET Core, is it .NET Aspire, Windows Form and stuff like that. Let's say I'm interested in Aspire, right? So Aspire is a new Microsoft opinionated framework for building microservices, highly scalable and distributed microservices. So I guess it's a new thing, and I want to learn. So this is how it is. So there are 3 modules to it. There are 2 learning parts, and there's a module. So the learning part is, now someone say, what's the difference between a module and a learning part? So a learning part constitutes multiple modules, right? So that if a learning part is trying to, at the end of the maybe day, gain a certification or a skill appraisal assessment, so that learning part will contain a lot of modules. But then a module is just a topic or a section of that particular thing. So here, if this is just teaching about creating a Aspire project, you can just do this. But you can see 2 main learning paths. And again, I can be specific on it at the type on the left here. Say, look, I'm looking for a learning path rather than just modules. So there are 2 learning paths when it comes to Microsoft.NET Aspire. So I'll say build distributed apps with .NET Aspire, which is about 4.5 hours. And then there's another one, use Azure services to build and deploy apps with .NET Aspire. So you can see that I can start from here and then I can move to this one. So if I want to get started with this, I'll probably add it to my own collection. And that's a good thing about the Microsoft Learn. You can create a collection, right, where you can put different learning parts or modules you want to learn at another time and build your own portfolio. And the cool thing also is that I can create my learning part for people. Let's say someone will say, oh, I want to do data science. I don't know the sequence of the order in which I should run things. I'll say, okay, don't worry. I can create a learning part or a collection and share with you so that you can run with that collection. So let me just put this here. I think I have something for microservices. Anyway, let me add a new one here. And I can do microservices. And then I can set it to private, so that private means I'm not the only person who can see this collection, but I can make it public and share with you. That means everybody can look at this. So I'll put it in there for now. And we'll save this. Okay. Now, so question is, okay, so I want to do this. How do I go about it? It's as simple as that. You've added it. I'm going to add this also to the same collection, microservice collection. And then, so let's say I want to start with building distributed apps with .NET Aspire. So I'll click here. And so this is how it starts. Right now, don't forget that there is also the official document for .NET Aspire. So if I came here, right, this is the virtual days which I open, so you can search for any virtual days. This is a Copilot. It's a whole thing we'll come back to that later on. But so if you go ahead and you search .NET Aspire, right, it will take you to this page, which technically is the Aspire documentation, right? So if you say .NET Aspire documentation, this is it. So there's a whole documentation. You see how it's broken into. And I like the way Microsoft organizes its documentation. So from the overview, from the concept to quick starts to the other concepts to deployment to there are a lot of stuff in here. You can see getting started, working with storage, working with databases when it comes to Aspire, connect messaging, caching, framework, deployment, troubleshooting, training, and then extensions. Now, what this does is that it gives you a more tailored and a more planned approach to learning things. Unlike now, when you're trying to learn something, you go to YouTube, you're looking for videos all over, right? How, like, learning this, learning that. This gives you a more structured way of learning and presenting stuff. Okay, so that's the beauty of it. However, let's start with this. So let me close this one out. So here we're starting with it. I've already added it. So let's go through it. So I'll just click on start, and then it will give us the first part of it. So this is it. This is so what is Aspire? It's a cloud native application. A cloud native application is a web application. So pretty much I will go through this, and the learning objectives is describe how .NET Aspire makes it easy to deploy cloud native distributed application. Select the right Aspire component to address functional requirement, and then use Visual Studio to create and run application using .NET Aspire. So this gives you like an overview, explain what Aspire is, and it will do the same thing for any other technologies you want to learn on the Microsoft ecosystem, right? So yeah, I'm interested in this. And by the way, when I go offline, Aspire is probably a few weeks old. It's something I've been wanting to delve in to understand how it works as a framework, not the other service around it. So that's how my weekend is going to look like in trying to also build something and work on it. So when I go offline, I'm still going to be, so this is kind of like the process I take. If someone is asking, how do you learn new stuff on the Microsoft ecosystem? This is how I go about it, right? So I'll go through this process to understand it, and you can see all the definitions. So pretty much we'll take you through the process. And then there's always a quiz, a knowledge check after every section. So it's not just clicking through, and you just need to understand the concept. The most important thing when you're learning technology is practice. Okay, it's just practice. You learn the technology, you apply it to building stuff, you repeat that over and over again, you get experience. You'll be met with some challenges or something you've not seen before, but your ability to research into that, fix that problem, gives you the experience, and then you can build more of that. So that is on the development side of things. All right, so I can go through this next, read through it, or I can start by coming straight to the documentation if I don't want to use the learn part. So here the documentation. Also, if you look at it closely from this side, if you look at it, is properly, they've categorized it. Getting started, you get an overview of it. You have like how to build your first one. There's a tutorial, a sample node app to connect with it, set up to, and then you can. So they've like pretty much ordered it in a way that if you follow it up, it makes it easy for you to understand. This is like, the most times when people are building or learning new things and they are kind of like zooming and running through it, they start and they expect that by the time they are done, there looks like there's some training here. Let's go check this out. And this will probably be okay. This is we're already doing this. So I'll just stick to it. So that is Microsoft Learn and all the stuff you can do. Now, however, when you're done with Microsoft Learn, right? Let's do this. Let's see if I can. Hey Ben, welcome. It says I joined it, but let me still ask. So let's go see what Ben is asking. So Ben says that just a sec. Okay. So Ben says I joined late, but let me ask still. Sometimes learning documentation on MS Learn and the MS certification are quite different. Somewhat, you agree? Okay. So it depends on the approach you're using to learn. Okay, and that's why I was going through the process. So I've shown two things, the documentation and Microsoft Learn, right? They are fused. So if you're doing, like right now, we're doing what is Aspire. As you're going through it, okay, it is going to point you to some extent to the documentations you need to get to go and read more and understand the concept. All right. And then at the places where you need to spin up virtual machines or you need to spin up environment to be able to test them, it would also give you like a sandbox or a lab for you to do it. However, this is me putting on my MCT hat because this question is more about certification. So let's show you something. Let's say hypothetically, okay, I'm going to look for, let's browse all trainings. And this time around, okay, let's say I want to do even let's just go fundamental, right? Let me share the screen. So let's say fundamentally, right? We want to learn, let's say, fundamentals of Azure. That's the certification you want to take. So maybe you come down here and then you say, hey, I'm looking for Azure fundamentals. Okay, let's say you just do a rough Google search. So it opens up for you. Now you get to the same learn page, right? So this is it. Microsoft certification, Azure fundamentals. What is the level? What role? Which people are encouraged to take this? What's the product? Now, this is what you need to understand. You need to understand the general overview, right? And the most important thing, the skills measured here. This is the key thing you need to understand when you're taking any Microsoft exams, right? Not only does it tell you the things we're looking out for in assessing you in the exams. And remember, now most of the Microsoft exams are role-based. So depending on your role and the exams you're taking, that's how it's matched on. So this is a skill measured. So if you want to take AZ 900, right, which is the Azure fundamentals, the skills that are measured in this certification or this exams is your ability to describe cloud concept, your ability to describe the Azure architecture and services, your ability to describe the Azure management and government services, right? Now, this is where it becomes interesting. Now, it has a side that tells you that, hey, if you want to get ready for this certification, Microsoft Learn has got a course. The course is the entirety. The course is like everything, all the modules and topics you need to treat to meet up to be able to measure these skills. So if you go to the course right now, okay, you can see, so this is the course and still on Microsoft Learn, right? So this is what a certified trainer will take you through, right? Those are syllabus. You can see the syllabus. So you can see the syllabus is made up of multiple learning paths, and the learning parts are made up of multiple modules. So here you can see Microsoft Azure fundamentals, which is the first one. Describe cloud concept. There are 3 modules in it. Describe the Azure architecture and services. There are how many modules? 4 modules. Microsoft Azure describe the Azure. So you can see all the areas that are measured are mapped onto the learning part in Microsoft Learn. All right. Now, so this is one part of it. Now, the other thing is, how do I know the parts of the exams that carry weight for me to make sure that I understand that? That is why if you take your certification, at the end of your exams, the report card shows the areas where you performed well, because the questions are all categorized into the various areas that are measured, the skills measured. So if you answered questions that are related to describing Azure architecture and services better or more than describe cloud concept, they will show that. So Ben, I hope this makes it easy. So this is how you need to approach it. Go to the course, the training, right? Browse it and look at the skills measured. Now, in most cases as well, they will give you a guide, right? Let me just open. Let me see if I can find that for it. Looks so it's pretty much the same thing. Prepare for the exam. So you see here, even here, you can see that on the same layer, Microsoft has this also as well. Exam sandbox, right? Which is a place for you to simulate how the exams will look like, so you can test your knowledge even before you go and write it. At the same time, you can also assess, take a quick assessment, right, on what you've just learned. Sometimes also there's the guide, right? There's the exams guide. And once, how good, that is it, exactly, this is it. So you can see that, well, awesome. So here, you see that there's an exams guide. This you also always need to have access to this. Let's open this and let me show you something. So in the exam guide for any of the Microsoft certifications you're writing, you go here and you see the links, right? The skills measured. And that's what I was saying. And sometimes also the course content is updated. You should also need to be mindful of that. But this is what I wanted you to see. See the skills measured. Take a look at this. Describing cloud concept. That is about, if you look through it, the highest is describe Azure architecture services, which takes about 35 to 40% of your total score, followed by describing Azure management and governance. So what falls under Azure architecture and services. So if you go down here, you can see this is it. And these are the individual things they expect you to be able to do. And this is where you can focus what you are learning on Microsoft Learn. I should be able to explain what Azure regions are, region pairs are, sovereign regions, what availability zones, what data centers are, what resources are. So you realize that at the beginning of the program, I was talking about regions and all that. So basic understanding about Azure, you need to understand these things, right? So make sure you go to the certification web page, the type of certificate you want to take. Look at the skills measured, look at if there's any course, right? And go to the course. Once you go to the course, all right? Once you go to the course, just give me a sec here. Once you go to the course, you can follow through the course. And if you go to the course, you can see all the parts, all the various modules. And whilst you are going through it, they would provide you. So if you go to the summary here, let's see something here. No, let me go to the previous one. No, not the knowledge check. I've already done this. Yeah, so in most cases, they'll also provide you links to the Microsoft documentation for more details. All right. I hope this helped you, Bernard. Yeah. Awesome. So that's it. So for me, like I said, when I go off, I'm still coming to do Aspire. Now, the other thing I want to talk about is the assessment. So let's go to profile. And yeah, creating, it's free. You can create, you can go ahead and create, how do you call it? A free Outlook or Hotmail account, and you can use it to do that. So you see that it's tracking my use case, it's tracking my activities here. So if you go to credentials, welcome, Bern, welcome. So if you go to so here credentials, I have not actually taken any applied skills, right? Because most times I do a lot of certification. So if you can see, I have a few certifications, under my belt here. I have a few of them, a few of them, right? But if you don't want to, like take the certification or like the paid certifications, you can do the applied skills, which is almost the same as a certification. Microsoft is assessing your skill. In this case, it's not in a broad context. So somebody will say, what's the difference? So if we're using Azure Fundamentals, for example, right, you realize that there were three main learning parts or skills measured, right? The applied skills will probably be just one, right? So Azure Fundamentals have three skills measured. So doing an applied skill will just be one. Let's say architecture and services, governance, cloud services. So a skills measure will just handle on one. So if we go back and let's just do Azure, and we can do applied skill. So you can see this, and then we can probably say, let's just say maybe intermediate. So you see, these are individual skill areas that should be assessed, or not a broad or general, certification part. So writing a certification is like confirming that, this person is able to perform all these skills under one belt. So for instance, if we said this was under, let's say AI engineering, right? Someone wants to be an AI engineer. Okay. Now these are the applied skills here. So maybe instead of, if you wanted to do the Azure certified AI associate, right? And that would validate that, someone with an associate certificate can do all this 6 applied skills, right? The person is skilled to do all this. However, if you're not ready to take the full exam that covers all of it, and so let me just focus on building natural language processing solution with Azure. Is a skill measured in the AI exams. So you can take this one, and then you be giving a certificate that, hey, we've assessed this person on being able to build natural language processing using Azure AI language. And you get a certificate for just this skill. So, and the reason why it's good is that it's good to validate your skills or your ability to perform setting service or work on a particular task or skill. So in this case, if a company says we are looking for people to probably be able to generate, to develop generative AI solutions in Microsoft OpenAI, right? And you're not ready to take all the certification for it. You can come and just take this one. And once you can validate it, you get the skill required to be able to use Azure OpenAI services in developing generative AI solutions. Does that make sense? So that is how the Microsoft ecosystem specifically for Learn, helps you to do that. So from learning paths to courses to modules to even certifying, that is how it works. And it is all totally free, minus instructor-led courses. If you are doing an instructor-led course, then they give you the official course content. They give you, an in-person training, which that is what comes at a cost. Okay, that comes at a cost. But apart from that, the general training materials for any of this is available, for you here to go take a look at. The cost to it is your time, your dedication, and seriousness in, getting skilled, right? And that is what is at your disposal. So rather than spending all your data, okay, rather than spending all that data watching TikTok, spend that data in making yourself employable, in making yourself the next frontier ready, so that when opportunities come, you're not found wanting. All right. So that is very important. You're a sensible human being. That's true. So that is very important. And all these resources are there for you. And there's also a huge community behind it. Sometimes, and Learn has brought all that together. So there are MVPs, there are MCTs, there are a lot of, community people in there. So when you're going through the process and you probably are stuck or don't understand something, you can go in there and ask your questions. So I'm going to throw a challenge to all of you. We have about 4 minutes to go. I'm going to throw a big challenge to all of you. Spend some time, go to Microsoft Learn, right? Choose to do either the applied skills or just do a normal Learn. I mean, imagine, look at some of these things are probably like about 4, 5 hours, 7 hours. If you give yourself time over the weekend, I'm going to do a few minutes, even if you say you're going to do it over the week, let's say 1 hour every week, right? And you are consistent, you're dedicated to it. Within a span of a quarter, you should have probably acquired employable skills that will make you valuable, not just, as an individual, as a certified human being, but also at your workplace, and also open you up for opportunities for you to gain employment, at different places. Technology is evolving and there are resources all across, and Microsoft has made this much easier for you to have a more planned way of, learning. And the only thing for me I can advise is take advantage of it. Take advantage of it. You never know when you'll be in a position where you need some of these skills, applied skills to, do stuff. And it doesn't take long, right? To do an applied skills. It will give you a sandbox. Like for instance, if you want to do natural language process, let's say you want to do this applied skills, okay? It is the same thing. You prepare for the assessment, you take. So here again, they will give you the resources, right? Yes, it's true. Yeah, the applied route, it's quite simple. So it's not, you don't have a lot to, to put together. You don't have a lot to learn but then you can take it step by step. So like I was saying, if we let's go back, right? Let's look at this one. So this is, and you see that the applied skills here is free. You don't pay for it. It's free, but you still get a certificate from Microsoft saying that, hey, this person has done it. And this is what I was saying. So if you look at this is a learning part, right? It's a learning part. 1 hour. It's almost like each module in here is just about like 1 hour. And this is just one assessment. So if you go through all this, you take the assessment, you get your certification. And like I said, some of these things have got labs. So let's say if you start the learning part, totally, it says I should spend about 7 hours to do this. So let's see. So yeah, there's an exercise, right? I'm just going to jump into this exercise and show you something. There you go, right? You will need a Microsoft. If you don't already have one, you can sign up for it. But good, look at this. This is what I wanted to share with you. Here, this is good. This is it. You see it? There you go. It says that This unit includes a lab for you to complete. Use the free resources provided in the lab to complete the exercise in this unit. You will not be charged for the lab environment. And that is how it is. It's as simple as me just hitting it's just like me hitting this launch lab button, and that's it. It's going to bring in the lab. I'll go through, there'll be steps on the side to follow through the code snippet. It will give you all that for you to enter to see how that works. So you do this judiciously, and by the time you know you've done the assessment, as you can see, the code samples are here for you to review. So they walk you through the theory, they point you to, so as you can see, they point you to the Microsoft documentation where you can get more information. There is an exercise and they provide the lab for you to do that exercise, right? So if you don't want this, I don't know what else you want, right? The world is changing. For those who came for the meeting, I told you that the world is changing. Whether you like it or yes, the change is going to come. But the question to yourself is, are you ready for that change? In terms of skills, in terms of resources, in terms of knowledge, are you ready for that skills? And yes, jobs are going to be lost, but then those who have made themselves relevant by learning new technologies, emerging technologies, and applying it to them are those that will remain resolute and remain in the job marketplace. Well, this is where time permits me for today. It's 10 p.m., exactly 1 hour of streaming. I'm your Soli Samal Adrani. You can connect with me on any of the social media platforms you see down there. And if this is your first time, kindly do us a favor, share, like the channel, subscribe, hit the notification bell, invite your friends and family to join so we share and learn together. If there's something specific that's, bugging, you want us to talk about, you want us to look into it on Azure, technology, anything, just hit me up. And don't forget that we try to do this on Tuesdays for IoT, Fridays for general technology, and Sundays for Power Series. On Tuesdays, we focus mainly on IoT stuff. On Fridays is focused on general technology, but we are doing a series on the Azure AI Studio where we are using the large language models and AI services to build AI applications. And the Power Series is solely dedicated to the Power Platform. So if this sounds like something that you really want to do, just make sure that you join us any of these days. Share the channel, let people join, let's have some fun. As you're going into the weekend, be careful, be safe. Let's make the world a better place through technology. I still remain Samal Adrani. I am out. Don't do what I won't do. But if you can, drink a chilled glass of your favorite beverage. Enjoy the weekend.